applies to life. Like you got to know yourself in order to grow yourself. So for us as referees, video breakdown is probably the number one thing that's successful. And I want to put that word, because that's the word successful referees do go to their game, which is they break down videotape. Potential. This is where you're starting off. That means you got the ability to be able to do something. But the question becomes, how are you going to get there? It doesn't happen by just showing up year after year. I got another year under my belt of experience, so that means that I should be a better official. Growth has to be intentional. One of our main tools that we use as referees is tape breakdown. Again, the premise is in you got to know your game in order to grow your game. If you don't know your game, you can't grow it. You don't know where your strengths, your weaknesses are. You don't know why you're missing plays, why you're late on rotations. You know the mechanics, but video breakdown will tell you a lot. Um, Again, become intentional about growing. So here's my potential, and this is what I have. This is what I have the ability to become. In the gap is process, and that's where growth takes place. So again, this is probably one of the main things that actually the main thing that's successful. And I gotta keep saying that. You ask any successful referee, and there are a lot of successful referees on this phone call, and they will tell you that probably their number one thing is what you're going to talk about and what would be and everybody else is going to talk about today. So I won't go into depth to everything that Wayne and I talked about, and I just wanted to make that point and drive it home. If you don't do anything else, if you don't do anything else, break down your game tape.
Correct.
Be able to talk about it. There's people on here, you be able to share it. And so, like I said, how do you do it? The question is growth. How do you grow your game? Tape breakdown. That's all I
Nice.
got.
Yes, sir, brother. I really appreciate that. And appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day to be with us also today. You know, the thing about breaking down video, and a lot of officials have different ways of approaching it. And to be honest with you, a lot of officials look at their video. Why do you really look at your videos after a game? You go to your video to see if you got a play right or wrong, correct? You just want to know, did I get the play right or wrong? But we have to be more intentional than that. We have to think beyond that. It's not about did we get the play right or wrong or not. The key is how did we get the play right? What steps did we not do that led to us making a different decision on this play? Oh wow, a little feedback. All right, everyone, please make sure that your mics are muted, please. Thank you. And that's we have to have a process that we utilize when we're breaking down video. And we have to understand that we're looking at getting very, very specific. And anytime you start breaking down video, it starts and it ends with positioning. Because your accuracy, your play calling accuracy hinges on positioning. All right, so that's one of the elements that we will take a look at. We will start. Does anyone have any questions so far? Anything they'd like to share before we get started?
Wayne, so I just want to add real quick, that was
Mhm.
good point that you made, positioning. But I know me personally, like what I like to do when I'm breaking down film is I'll look at like the first, maybe like the 2 minutes and just kind of see how I look out on the floor. You know, how I look when I run. Is my run athletic? Are my signals sharp? Am I commanding presence? Am I using my voice? Stuff like that. So when I do film is I look at how I look first, and then like you said, is we go and look in positioning. And we don't only look at our own positioning, but we look at our partner's positioning and where everyone's eyes are. So if anyone has anything else to add, any other tips that you guys do whenever you're breaking down film, anything is helpful. Okay, so we can just go ahead and get started, I guess, Wayne, with the first clip. Nicole, are you on?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you're working, but real quick, can we go ahead and get your take, since this is your play, on what your experience was like when this was going on live. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen here and then I'm gonna pull it up. And just let me know when you guys can see this clip. Hold on. Can you guys see it yet?
Yep, I can see it, B.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Okay, Nick, so just give us your experience. You know, you're the one that's out there. What were you feeling? What were you thinking?
Well, one, it was a very intense game.
We'll watch it real quick, Nick. Let's watch it real quick, and then you can tell us. Is that okay?
Okay.
We'll watch it one time. Okay, Nicole, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. So what were you thinking out there? Like what was going on in your head when this play happened?
Well, coming up the floor, I thought that my partner was going to pick that up because it was coming up the side closer to him, but I was going to still trail the play from behind. And when the play happened, I said, oh, blah, 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 in my head. But I couldn't blow because I wasn't for sure. I wasn't in the right position. I wasn't for sure if the defender was there before or not because she was flopping all night. So that's why I just kind of froze and did not blow because I didn't know.
Okay, so is it fair to say that this play surprised you a little bit?
Well, I don't think it's possible. Yeah, it could probably surprise me. But
okay, because
at it, but like I said, I thought my partner was. I thought my partner was going to pick it up because it was coming up on his side of the floor. But had I been closer, a little bit more engaged into the play, then I would have seen the beginning, the start finish.
Okay, so now running this all the way back, and we have officials here from every level. We have officials, men's officials, women's officials, professional officials. So we can go ahead and talk about if coverage is different for anyone, just please speak up and let us know to make sure we're all on the same page. But if we're going back to the very beginning, and when we talk about breaking down film, we want to make sure that we're really good at mastering like the small little details, right? And just getting in the habit of doing things over and over and over. I know I had a couple of you guys in the past ask me, well, how do you work on your clocks? You know, how do you work on being better at that? And for me personally, it's just as soon as a ball is inbounded, the first thing we should do is look up at the clock, right? And these are just little things. And this is something we do every time. So here, so right there, boom, my head already needs to be up looking at the clock, right? Because I need to make sure that I'm getting my time of possession and I need to be making sure that the shot clock started properly. So now in every level here, when this crash happens, whose primary is it?
Trail.
Mine.
Okay. And I think Nicole here does an excellent job of trailing the play. I know a lot of us have a tendency to either run with the play or get ahead of the play. And I know this has been a big point of emphasis for us, just making sure that we're trailing the play to make sure that we're able to see and things don't catch us off guard. Now, I know you also have this player right here who I can't see you on the screen, so I'm not sure if this player got in your way or not. But if I see this situation and I'm the center, I think the center does a good job of recognizing, right, that this matchup is coming towards him. And so he did a good job, I think, of just recognizing that you potentially couldn't see it, because I don't really know. Right now, Nicole, where are your eyes?
I'm looking over there. Well, I'm kind of looking between. I'm looking in between the play and then this defender right here as I'm coming up the floor.
Okay, so you're looking almost through this defender to try to get an open look here, right?
Right.
which makes it very complicated for us to be able to get, would we say, an open look at the play. So do you think that there's anything that you could have done differently to get a better look at this play?
Yeah, I could have came almost up right up the middle of the court and being closer to, like I said, closer to the play. But I didn't anticipate him to keep running down. My mind, I thought he was going to stop like almost at half court, between half court and maybe the 28-foot line and stop. I didn't anticipate him as he was keep going down, even though it was my play. But I thought he was going to be up a little bit more to help, and that wasn't the case.
Gotcha. Does anybody have anything to add to this as far as like, and what you guys suggest we can do to be in a better position to see this play?
I could have been more on the side, not as much trailing the play. I probably trailed the play too long.
B, I have something.
Okay, Nat.
Just from what Nicole had said earlier about this player being flopping all night and being involved in a lot of plays, then our antennas already need to be up since we're already in the fourth quarter. Then we need to have all eyes always on her or have an awareness of where this player is at all times. So then that way, when a play like this happens, we won't be surprised and we can say, oh, there she is again. Here we go. And then the longer defender, the more likely we are able to get the play correct.
That's really good. Anyone else have anything else to add on this play? Yes, Angel?
So I just want to talk about coverage and transition on this for a second. Right now we have 3 players in the backcourt, and this girl that has the ball right now, she's not passing. She's dribbling the ball up the court. So in coverage, Trail's job is to stay with the ball handler up the court, right? Be in a position to see the legality of what they're doing dribbling wise and what the defender that's coming up to them is doing. Center's responsibility on these plays in transition is to stay with the middle third of players and to receive the long pass. So in this play, she dribbles up and runs into the girl, right? And or the girl slides late. So it would be Trail's play. Conversely, if this would have been a pass to the half court line, that would be center's play to see the legality of the defender on the catch crash. So there's a little bit different coverage, mentality we need to think when we're in transition like this. So ball handler going up, that's your person all the way, and whatever defender's with her, that's your defender, wherever it is in that backcourt transition set. So that's just another thinking of, I know, Nick, you wanted Josh to help you on this play and stay up, but we have to remember what our coverage really is in these type of transition plays.
Okay, and is that the same, Brian McNutt? Is this the same on the men's side as far as how you guys cover these plays?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Trail would stay engaged in there, and I question myself if, obviously, that hugging the sideline, knowing that that's our matchup, we would be on the floor more, near the middle of the floor, probably just wherever you can get the best angle to see that matchup. But same thing. Right?
Okay. Wayne, do you have anything to add on this?
Sure. Let's take a look at this from a very fundamental level. We know that when we're in transition, we split the floor into thirds, correct? We have 3 zones. And as the trail official, we know that we should be no more than 1 zone away from the ball handler dribbler, BHD. So that if we have a player transitioning up the floor in zone 3, we should be in zone 2, which is the zone between lane line to lane line, from end line to end line. We should be in zone 2, trailing the play, which puts us in a better position to pick up the movement of that defender when they attempt to get in front of the BHD and attempt to take a charge. And the reason why we do that is we have to be very, very disciplined, and specific, because once that play crosses the division line, that's when we're handing it off to our C, because it's in C's primary. We will hand it off to C. We won't dump it on C. We'll hand it off to them, and they receive it. We'll pass baton, and we'll break to our primary. And that's to ensure complete coverage on plays during transition. Now, I agree 100% with Angel. When we're in transition, C has the middle third of players. But let's get even more specific. In C position, we have the next pass. so that if we have our eyes on that player who's receiving the next pass, let's say we do have a pass up to the division line, and at C, we're picking up that player, so that when that pass occurs and we have a catch and crash, C is in position to referee it, so that we don't have the BHD, the pass, the recipient, and defender all falling on Trail's responsibility. So yes, in transition, C has the middle third, but more specifically, C has the next pass. And when that pass is completed, C hands it off the Trail, and they go to the next pass. So we have complete coverage in transition. That's just my perspective on play.
Okay, that's good. And another little thing I just want to add, obviously, I mean, this is a tough play, and it's hard to tell, you know, is it a block or a charge? But I think here there's a bigger picture, and it's just the coverage part of it, right? Whose play is it? It's kind of in that weird kind of middle. We already said it's Trail's primary, but I mean, C, like I said earlier, doesn't have any engaged matchups in their primary, so they do a good job of recognizing that this is coming. They pick it up. Now, the only other thing I would add is we project strength with our signals, right? And I know on the women's side, we have to make sure that we come up with our fist first, right, on any foul. And obviously that's just to prevent any, you know, blarges or any plays like that. So I would just say here, it looks like it surprised both the center and the Trail, to be honest, just based on the center's presentation there. He just doesn't seem sure. So I would say let's just make sure that we really try to focus when we're out there on having a snap and a command with our signals. You know, right, wrong, or indifferent, we have to be strong with our signals regardless if we think we got the play right or wrong. And now my question, Nicole, one more question is obviously I probably already know the answer, but if center doesn't have a whistle here, would you have blown your whistle? And if so, what would you have called?
Offense.
Offensive foul. Okay. It's tough. I mean, it's really hard to tell, but I would just say I just think this was a good play to talk about, like we said earlier, just because there's so much going on. Does anybody else have anything to add? Anything else that you guys want to add on this play?
Yeah, Blanca, I have a question. Is the C, or maybe it's for Nicole, is the C calling an out of bounds, or is he calling an offensive foul?
He got out of bounds.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. I thought he was calling an offensive foul this whole time. Okay. Okay. So at least we know now that in hindsight, right, we need to put a whistle on this play. This isn't a play that is a no call. And again, like these plays happen sometimes. I mean, it's happened to all of us. But in my personal experience, I would say just, you know, err on the side of making a decision than not, right? Because if, you know, we're permitting this play to happen, then we're promoting it and we're saying, okay, yeah, body's on the floor, just keep doing this all game long. Even though I know that's not what we're doing, but the perception of it is like, okay, we have 9 minutes and 29 seconds left in the fourth quarter. That is a lot of game left. And these are plays that we definitely want to put whistles on. So thank you, Nicole, for sharing this play and sharing your experience with the group. That's a really good one. Does anyone else have any other questions about this play at all? Anything at all?
Yeah, I'll say something.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is, I think everybody's already kind of touched on it, but these are the types of plays when we don't have whistles or we don't have fouls, and then we just go with like a uncertain out of bounds. We lose credibility. You can see the coach on the sideline like, what the heck, you know? So these are the types of things where sometimes we can just take a stab at it and possibly guess, but we don't want to get in a habit of guessing. So we could be 75% sure on this, but we don't want to get in a habit of that. Maybe once or twice a game, but I mean, a foul would have been better than an out of bounds.
Yes, and I agree with that. A foul would have been better than an out of bounds. And let's roll it back just a little bit and take a look at specifics. As this play is transitioning up the floor, and we lost eye discipline a little bit. And when the contact occurred, we have to look at everyone's positioning. We stop it right at contact. we have to realize if we put ourselves in C's position right now, ask yourself, what can C, what can C see? What's in their vision? What can they see? All they have is the back of the defender, correct? That's the only information they have to go with. They can't see point of contact. They didn't see how the play started and where the contact occurred. So we put ourselves in C's position. Only thing the C has, is last touch and the ball going out of bounds. So what we do is we would definitely, next opportunity as a crew, we would discuss this play as a crew. This is something I'm sure that the defender from Teal, I'm assuming that's Coastal Carolina, this is not the first time she's jumped her player in the backcourt. We're in the fourth period. She's probably done this maybe once or twice before prior to this. So this is something that, as a crew, we would discuss earlier in the game. Like I said, if we put ourselves in a position in trail to be connected to the play, and that allows us to not just see the play, but we also can see the position and the demeanor of our partner in C, and we can recognize if they have the play or not. So that if they do, that's great that we can hand it off to them. If they don't, then you're right. Now we're in a position where we have to make a decision based on what we see at that moment. You make the best decision you can based on the information available to you. And we have contact, yes, then we can decide to put an errant on Wilson. So going all the way back, if we look at our positioning on the play, that will help us determine the legality of the defender when contact actually occurs. And we're engaged and we're connected, and the play doesn't catch us by surprise. Because we're looking through the players, and when she jumped her, we had to snap our vision back to her. And by then, contact has occurred. And you're right. Now we're stuck in a position having to decide, what are we going to go with, offense or defensive foul? Then we're stuck. But if we are in the correct position, trailing the play, and it's within our vision, and we see that movement of that defender, then we can determine the legality when contact does occur. Does anyone else have anything else to add?
Hey, Nicole, this is Josh Matson. What was your or the crew's communication like with the coaches afterwards?
I honestly, I don't recall because we went back down the opposite end of the floor. She had left that play alone. She didn't say anything to me when I came back down the floor.
Gotcha. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Wayne, do we want to move on to the next play?
Sure. Does anyone have any other comments, observations, or thoughts on the clip we just reviewed?
Hey, Wayne, I just want to say one thing real quick.
Yes, sir.
I know you guys always talk about, I'm not saying that Nicole did this, about taking plays off. At any time, a play can explode on you and just destroy the crew's credibility. And I know Nicole was hustling on this play, but I know you always talk about making sure that we're in our primary position to be able to receive and accept plays. And this is one of those plays obviously got away from us. So as a family, let's make sure we're always hustling to do the things we need to do to be in a proper positioning.
Correct. Let's stay disciplined. Let's stay disciplined at all times. Anything else? What else we got? Any other observations or thoughts? Adjustments that we can make? Perspectives on the play? All right. I tell you what, B, let's move on to clip number 2. If you will unshare your screen, then I will share my screen and we'll go to clip number 2. Okay. Clip number 2 was sent to us by Drew Roberts. She was gracious enough to share this play from her game with us. And we're going to do the same thing. It happens pretty quick. The contact is going to occur up here above the key, right along the line of intersection. So I'm going to play it through one time. Then, Drew, if you don't mind, share with us your perspective on the play, your thoughts when the play was happening, and what was going through your mind. Here we go. Let's play it all the way through one time. Drew, what were your thoughts?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
My thoughts at the time, I was happy that I just got the play right, that I took the shooter up and down. But I didn't know that the trail had a foul either.
Mm-hmm.
And the point of the play that I wanted to talk about was who should have taken the foul to the table since it's at the line of intersection.
Great question. So if we take this clip all the way back to the beginning, I'm going to ask the group, when the catch occurs, let me back it up a little bit. When the catch occurs, whose primary is to play in?
Trail.
Yeah.
Right. And let's take it back a little bit further. The pass actually came from Trail's primary to the top of the key. We had a catch, which was right along the line of intersection, but it had not completely crossed over to C's primary. Trail is still engaged because why? Trail also has a screener in their primary with the defender attempting to get around the screen and trying to close out on the shooter. So all of this is occurring in Trail's primary. Now, as a good partner, yes, we can be prepared to assist and help if needed. But when the catch is made, we have to tell ourselves whose primary is it. That's going to help us in determining who's going to have primary whistle and who's going to have a secondary whistle if needed. Also, if we do happen to have a double whistle, who's going to take it to the table? So if we have this pass coming from Trail's primary to the top of the key, right along the line of intersection, it has not completely crossed, so it's still in Trail's primary. Then we have the shot attempt, the release. Now, prior to the ball hitting the rim, when the ball relieves the shooter's hand, that time and space from release to the rim, we're refereeing what? Somebody tell me the term we're refereeing.
Rebound?
Pre-bound, correct.
Up, down. Oh, okay.
Yep, there you go. Yep, up, down, rebound, yes. So from the time the ball leaves the player's hand until it hits the rim, we're looking for contact. And we do not have to be in a rush to signal the three-point attempt. We know it's a three-point attempt, but we're going to take that shooter up and down, and we're looking for illegal contact. As balls in transition to the rim, our eyes immediately go to pre-bound contact.
Okay, Wayne, and just real quick, so let's run it back a little bit and let's just talk about where everybody is looking.
Yes.
Because when we have two officials calling a foul on the same play, it means that we're obviously both looking at the same thing. So we have to ask ourselves, who is watching everybody else?
Correct.
Right? So right now, obviously, we have the trail and the center who are both on the shot, which means that we're leaving lead the responsibility to referee the other 8 players out on the floor. Right?
Correct.
So if I were you, Drew, in this situation, I would just take a quick peek at my trail, and it's literally like a quick glance of the eyes. Like you move your eyes quick, right? That's what we're trying to do is how quickly can you move your eyes, right? So boom, I look at my trail real quick. I see that he's on it, which means that I'm going to immediately get off of it. Now, if you see that he's down on that screen, then of course you need to pick up the shooter. But look at all the action that you have in your primary right now, right? You have an engaged matchup with white 22 and that black player there. And you also have these post players down low. And it looks like lead is either he's looking at the screen here at the elbow or he might be watching the ball, which we all have a tendency to do as well. So I would say a good learning experience here is number one, as a lead, we have to make sure that we stay wide, on these plays. I know that I've learned that staying, the wider we are, the more that we can see, right? And we have to make sure that where we need to look, and we have to trust that our partners are going to referee everything up here, right? So I would say again, Drew, quick glance at my trail, boom, he's got it, and then your eyes immediately go off ball. okay? Because again, you have these engaged matchups in your primary. And I know one of the sequences that we talk about a lot is, I know I heard earlier, Hunter, you said up, down, rebound, right? So this is what we do every time that we're refereeing a shooter. We bring them all the way up, we bring them all the way down, and then we go to rebound. And another sequence that we talk about is screen line defender, right? So we have a screen in our primary, we referee the screen, and then we look at the line, right, of the offensive player that a 2 or a 3, and then we referee the defense. And these are the sequences that we use every single time that this happens. And if we get in a habit of doing it, then our eyes are going to be trained to do it every single time, and our call accuracy is going to go up. Does anybody else have any other thoughts to add on this?
That's good. That's really good. Drew, after looking at the clip and after reviewing it, what would you have done differently on this play? Walk us through it.
What would I have done differently? Sorry, you cut out just a little bit.
Yes, what would you have done differently on this play after reviewing the clip and walking us up through it?
I definitely would have picked up the 2 matchups in my primary, and went from there. Because obviously she's about to shoot, so I should be ready for the rebounding fouls if there's going to be one.
Correct. Also, like I said, and this is not a really simple play per se because of the location of the player, where there could be some confusion on coverage, and which is why B made a great point of taking a quick glance, boom, at your partner. They've got it. We drop off of it and go back to rebounding. If they're still engaged with that screener, then we, as good partners, we will assist and help with that shooter who's along the line of intersection. And here's another piece. And this is something I would like us all to continue to work on. We have to become adept at refereeing plays that are within our vision. In C position, we have competitive matchup along the lane free throw line extended. We have competitive matchup in the post. We have 2 matchups, right? We have a catch and a shot right on the line of intersection between C and trail. Using a wide vision, all 3 of those locations are in our vision. So the question is, do we always have to be tunnel vision on a player to determine legality? Do we have to be tunnel vision on a player to see illegal contact, to find a location? We have to become adept at officiating multiple matchups within our primary without shifting our entire vision to that player. Now, there are exceptions. If this player 22 is a step or 2 to her left and clearly in C's primary, that's a totally different conversation. Now C owns this play, and C has to take that defender and has to narrow their vision. Here's the exception on that release from wrist to elbow. Make sure there's not any contact, and then we broaden back out and bring them back to the floor. So there are always exceptions. But let's become better adept at refereeing multiple matchups within our primary without shifting our entire vision to one matchup, so that we lose sight of everything else. Any other questions, any comments, observations?
Hey, I've got something to add real quick, Wayne.
Yes.
I heard something really good yesterday. I struggle with when people say, take them up, take them down, what am I looking for?
Mm-hmm.
And so yesterday I heard, first of all, you're picking up their feet to make sure that shooter's not traveling.
Right.
You're gonna zoom in from elbow to wrist, and then you're gonna look for landing space to make sure that their feet are not getting taken out as well.
Correct.
And so that landing space really meant something to me, just because if they're clipping at the ankle, anything like that, that's what I'm exactly looking for. Not necessarily whether they're going through their body, but you have to be able to see all of that as well. So that helped me out. It was feet, zoom, and landing space, and then rebound. So those 4 things on a jump shot. So,
that's good.
Anyway.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yes, that's really good.
Hey, I have a question for Drew. Hey, Drew, I know you said you didn't know he called the foul, but did you know he marked it? Just out of curiosity.
No, I didn't even look over there at him.
Cool.
I was just pretty tunnel vision.
Okay.
What other
Hey, so I
questions
have
do
a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So did we ever get to an answer about who takes it to the table?
Good question. We were headed that way, but yes, let's go ahead and put that. Let's go ahead and get an answer to that. Who should take it to the table? Actually, we answered it earlier, but we didn't specifically say. Who should take this play to the table?
Trail official.
Trail.
There you go. Exactly. Because Trail has ownership of it. Trail has that pass ownership over to C.
So did Trail take it to the table?
Good question.
I don't remember because the girl got hurt. So I don't remember who did. I'm sure he did. Because after this, we had she was on the floor for like a good minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
And she ended up actually spraining her ankle and all that.
Correct. Now, Drew, what is the other thing that we need to correct on this play? Now we're digging into details as we're looking at this play and breaking it down. First, we recognize that yes, there was a shot attempt, and we're both Trail and NC are marking the three before the player finishes their motion, and we're not refereeing for contact. We're already marking the three right here as she's returning to the floor instead of bringing her completely to the floor. Now, this is an observation about just the matchup on the shooter itself, regardless of whose primary it's in. She's returning to the floor, and we're already marking the three instead of refereeing the play all the way to the floor to its completion. Then we can mark the three. We don't have to be in a hurry because we have a foul. Then we can go for the foul indicator and go ahead and get the foul. We know it's a three-point attempt. We don't have to be in a rush to mark it. And what is go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, can you run it back a little bit before she goes in to defend the shot?
Yes.
Go back a little bit more. So for me, when I see this happening, right now there is no defender on ball, which means my eyes need to go directly to the defensive player. And if you guys just pay attention to her right here, she is desperate to try to get to this offensive player, which will help us. It's a good indicator to know if this is going to be a foul or not. I'm not saying we know yet, but okay, run it. Can you run it kind of slow, Wayne? Okay, so if we just pay attention where she is coming from and where she is going to, right there, keep going a little bit more. You see, her momentum is already taking her forward, so that's just another cue that we can be like, dang, this is probably going to be a foul. Therefore, I should not worry about the feet right now. I should not worry about any of that. And also because we can go and review that, right? We can go and review if it's a 2 versus 3. And then we talked about this player got really injured, right? So would this be a play that anyone would think to potentially go and look at the moment if we had one?
Good question.
No.
That's okay. Does anybody have anything else? Are you guys just thinking, okay, yeah, this is a tough basketball play. She got hurt. I'm just saying, we need to start thinking that. I'm not saying we need to go to the monitor on this play. I'm just saying there's players out there that will take players out, and we just have to recognize the difference between a closeout and her being late and a reckless closeout, right? So I would just say we needed to start thinking about those other things too.
So in essence, go ahead.
This is Nicole Walker. I would say, I understand what you're asking, Blanca. I would say if she came at a kind of malicious rate and saw how they kind of both landed, I would definitely say, okay, let's go look at this and maybe it's an upgrade. But looking at how she came and she really was just trying to, oh shoot, she's wide open and let's cover her. It's just unfortunate her momentum took her into the player. But that would definitely be something because of make sure we stay on top of especially when we see a player, a defensive player lunging at someone like that. So yes, I would think so. Not that would raise a
Right.
flag, but at the same time, you know, make sure we can stay on top of it, like she didn't do it maliciously.
Correct. So
B,
that's, oh, go ahead.
oh, sorry. I was just going to say in the pro game, we would definitely go look at this, but I'm not sure of what the criteria for college would be. But if you just wanted a perspective of a certain level, the pro game, we would go look at this for a potential flagrant one for a reckless closeout.
There you go. Excellent. And I really do believe the point that B is driving home is that at least it should cross our mind. It should be a part of our thinking process. And we should be considering, should we go to the monitor or not? And here's the thing. Don't be afraid to ask the question. Ask the question. Ask your partner. From your perspective, should we review it? Just ask the question. Not saying we should or we shouldn't, but at least we're having the conversation.
I like that, Wayne, a lot because as a young new official, you're sometimes scared to ask questions. And I can personally say that myself because, you know, in your first year in a new league or a new conference or whatever it may be, you don't really know all your partners yet and you're just nervous and you're just trying to get plays right. So just my thing to all you new younger referees coming up, just ask the question. There's no stupid question, because if you ask a question, you could spark your partners to think, oh dang, I didn't even think about that, you know? So, and then the next 3 possessions, you'll feel so much better and like, whew, I'm so glad I asked the question and we got that right. Because in turn, you don't want to run up and down the floor 2 or 3 possessions later and be like, well, shit, should we have done this? Should we have done that? And then you're getting a call from your supervisor after the game asking, why didn't you do this? So just being young and new, and even in, you know, many of years, if you have 10 years of experience, just keep asking questions. It will be a positive thing.
I have a question
Natalie?
about, hey, Wayne, as far as the guidelines in the NBA or in the pro game, as far as that being a reckless closeout, what are the determining factors that you're looking for as far as that, deeming that a flagrant one?
Great question.
Well, definitely the ankle turn. If the offensive player comes down and lands on someone's ankle and seriously turns it, that's obviously one of our context clues. Now, if they just like slightly just land on the back of their heel or whatever, you know, no turning of the ankle, then we can stay common foul on that. But the ankle turn is a huge factor of what we're looking for.
So almost the result of it, that factors in there.
Yes. Lauren, do you have a question?
I was just going to add on to what you were saying, as far as, you know, having the conversation with your partners. Do you want to look at that? Being a younger referee on certain crews, you know, this is a different play because there's 2 officials on this play. But if there wasn't, as a younger official, you should never be afraid to also say, you know what, I want to go look at that play. Because I've found that sometimes if I do ask more experienced officials, they might think that, you know, oh, what did she see? Or, you know, don't be afraid if you saw something to say, I want to go look at that and here's why. And then you guys can get to the monitor that way too.
I agree with that 100%. What else do we have? Great observations, great information.
Also, we could help here if, I don't know whether the basket was good or not, but you could always be a good partner and help the calling official out to let him know the basket was scored or not.
Correct. As a great partner, here's the key. And a lot of times we allow ourselves to get caught up in specifics, depending on what position we're in. And we've been told year after year after year, if you're in lead position, you should have no idea of whether the basket went in or not. And that's not true. All 3 positions, we need to gather as much information as possible. And here's the reason why. being a great partner and you're in lead, we have contact above the circle. Our partners have a double whistle on it. So both my partners are on the play. If the basket goes in, who's more than likely, who's going to have the information on whether we should score it or not? And this is just being aware. The basket goes in, and both your partners are tunneled on one play above the circle. We have a double whistle, 2 primary whistles on a play above the circle. We have to continue as the non-calling official to gather information. Yes, the basket went in. No, the basket did not go in. So that if the question is asked, we can provide that information. And yes, we would definitely, if we're unsure, we would go to the monitor to see. But let's have a decision on the floor before we go.
Hey, Wayne.
Yes, sir.
This is Derek. Could you walk us through what that would look like as far as they doubled up the slot and the trail doubled up on that play, and then the lead probably was the only person with the information if to score the basket or not.
Yes.
What would that look like? Can you walk us through what that would look like?
Certainly. So if we're in trail or C and we have a double whistle on the play and we see the players on the floor, so we know we're going to tend to the injury, and we have no idea if the ball went in or not. As a partner, we're going to look at it from both positions. If you're on the perimeter, you have no idea, you will go to your partner and ask if they don't provide information. Conversely, if you're in lead as a partner and you see both your partners on this play above the circle, 2 primary whistles, the tunnel on the play, they did not see the completion, you will bring that information. And here's the key. We must bring information before we report anything to the table, correct? So you would touch base with your closest partner from lead, and you would pass that information along, whether they ask for it or not. I'm just letting you know. The basket did not go in. The basket went. Count the basket if you want it. Pass that information along. And we have to pass it in a manner that we keep all of the players boxed in between us, the 3 of us. We don't run past the players to communicate to our partners and leave the players on this side of the floor, nobody watching the players at all. So yes, we could operate from either perspective, either from the calling official, ask for the information if you need it. If you're the non-calling official, provide the information without being beckoned, so that we can get the play correct. Good question.
Hey, Wayne, I wanted to add something.
Yes.
Taking this even further past the foul and everything, and it's great that you guys had a foul. When the player's injured, just for everybody to kind of just keep in the back of their mind, we want to show concern and beckon the coach on, or the trainer, whoever needs to come out and tend to the player. But always keep in mind that we want to keep a safe distance away, and we don't want to be hovering, and we don't want to be right there where the coach can scream at us or whatever. So make sure that you show concern, get someone out there, but then also get your space, make sure the other players aren't lingering around, send them to their benches, whatever we need to do. But we just want to make sure that we keep ourselves safe in that, situation as well.
Correct. That's good. That's real good. Drew Roberts. Drew.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Okay, now here's the last part we'll cover on this clip. As you review the clip and you're watching your movements on the floor, and we're watching our actions post contact. What is the one thing that we're doing that we should not do?
Holding at my indicator for too long. My foul indicator.
And we're moving. where are we going?
On my own island.
Right. Which correct. We're on an island and we're not connected to the crew, because I guarantee you, if you hold your spot, you've got the foul. There's no reason to go anywhere. You will pick up the movement of your partner. He's in your vision. You're looking through the contact area and you can see your partner. Then there'd be no need to go anywhere because your partner's got it. They're going to take it to the table. We're both moving toward the table, which creates what? A gap in our floor coverage. And this touches on what B had already mentioned earlier. We're leaving trail to watch all the players. All of them. Let's be disciplined. Hold your position. You've got the, you know this 3-point attempt. You've got the foul. Be disciplined. It's a line of intersection. It technically trails primary. Hold. Trail starts walking to the table. Boom. Hand it off, and they've got it. We can keep the players in our vision. And this is the second period, right?
Yep.
So the coaching staff is going to come from the opposite direction. The trainer is going to come from the opposite direction, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So as our partner's going to the table, he's going to walk right by the player. He can stop, he can inquire, he can check on their injury, he can communicate, and we can stay disciplined, keep all the players boxed in. He can beckon the trainer onto the floor if they choose to come onto the floor. If she asks for a trainer, we can call them onto the floor. That's maintaining our crew dynamics. And as you're going through your own clips, and like I said, we're looking at plays, and we want to determine the legality of defenders. Yes, we want to look at our positioning. We want to look at how we're moving on the floor, how we're transitioning from point A to point B. Don't be afraid to dig into the details of every possession. Dig into the details, because that's where you uncover improvements and truths that you may not even be aware of. That's when you uncover things that you do. You don't even realize you're doing them on the floor until you see yourself do them. So dig each clip. Any other observations or comments on this clip that we just beat to death for Drew? Good. Drew, thank you for providing the clip. Nicole, thank you for providing your clip also. We really, really appreciate it. Appreciate both of you stepping out there and offering information for us to review. Okay, moving on to clip 3.
Thank you, Wayne.
Oh, you're welcome. Moving on to clip 3. Okay, now this is a clip from Mr. Brian McNutt. He's going to come on and he's going to walk through it with me. This is a clip from a men's game, and we're going to walk through it step by step. I like the clip because this was a learning opportunity. And he and I, we've already talked about this. By the way, in case anyone didn't know, Brian cuts my hair. We talked about this while I was getting a haircut, all right? And so we really chopped it up, and I really appreciate him sharing this with us. And I'm going to share my screen again. We're going to play the clip, and then Brian can give us his perspective on the clip itself. Here it is. Brian's in lead. All right, B-Nut, what were your thoughts on the play when it occurred?
Well, let me first give the context to this game. This was my first conference game in the Big Ten, and the game right now was one of the easiest games to referee. The 17, 18 minutes prior to that, we had 6-4 on the fouls. I mean, just an easy game, one you can get comfortable in. I'm going, wow, Big Ten conference game is easy to referee. And then when this play happens, I can tell you that I reacted on the play. I saw a hold out of my peripheral, and it disrupts the player. And so as I'm putting air in the whistle, now he's going up to count. Well, I know it's not on the shot. I know it's if the foul occurs before he touches the ball, so I'll count the basket. And so basically, I reacted to the play. and took away 2 points to the team down here. And being the young guy on the crew, this was the play that I got heat on, and rightfully so.
Correct. So let's take a look at the play again from the very beginning, and we'll walk through it. And Lee, we're mentioning the throw in. How do we feel as a group? How do we feel about our positioning right now on the throw in?
Good. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yes, I like his position on the throw in. We've got space between him and the thrower in. We're in wide. We're at the edge of wide position, but we're in good position. And our eyes are forward. The thrower in's in our vision. We don't have to look at him. We don't have to look at the player defending because he's not really competitive. Our eyes are onto the floor, picking up screening action and cutting action, correct? So then as the play proceeds, we have an entry pass. Now, here's the difference. In women's basketball, whose primary does the player catch the ball in?
The leads.
Lead primary.
Okay. Now, in men's basketball, whose primary is it?
That'd be Trails.
Trails. There you go. And see, that's the difference in floor coverage that we have to understand. Okay, so this is Trails. Trail has ownership of this play after the entry pass. The defender closes out on the ball handler. The throw in crosses B's vision. As a result, we have a pass to the elbow. We take a step toward the lane line, right? B, do you remember what prompted you to take that step toward the lane?
I'm probably picking up 11. Why 11 on that was my, now that the ball is there, anticipating a drive to the basket right there.
Correct. In men's basketball, do you guys have a procedure in how to operate and lead on plays going toward the basket or plays in your primary?
Yeah, I mean, basically, if we have plays driving to the basket, and if it happens anywhere in the paint, then basically the lead, I shouldn't say anywhere in the paint, but driving on this side of the floor, then lead's responsible for a whistle in that area. And if there's not a whistle, you get dinged or questioned why you're not owning your primary.
Correct. So now in women's basketball, we've taken 2 steps toward the lane line. In women's basketball, would we have been in a better position to stay wide?
Yes.
Stay wide.
Yes, stay wide. And here's the reason why.
Stay wide.
If we do have that drive toward the basket, we'll have a clear look at that defender and their matchup from the elbow to the basket. Right now, in Leeds primary, this is women's basketball. In Leeds primary, we have a screener, and we have a cutter, we have a defender. We have to identify that screener. We have to pick up the movement of the cutter and that defender so that we can gauge the legality of that screener. And if we're wide out here on the edge of on the end, then we have a great look at this screen and the potential contact.
Hey Wayne,
yes.
This is Derek Dunbar. In the women's CCA manual, it tells you whenever the ball is strong side or in your primary to stay wide, right?
Correct.
And so in the men's CCA manual, it does not talk about that.
Right. And
directly.
Right. And that's why I asked the question earlier. That's the difference in, I would say, mechanics between women's and men's basketball.
I'd say, even Wayne, as far as when I was reviewing this play, I mean, after I sent it to you, and just trying to figure out my positioning, me getting closer to the lane line, I mean, I think I should have stayed out wider, by the eye, by the end. That's where the action, because we do have mirror the basketball. So that's one of the guidelines for lead. So when the ball goes to the paint, I'm getting a little closer to that. But when all that action is outside, I should have widened back out, at least to the eye on that
There
play.
you go. There you go. And I agree with you, because if we had made the position adjustment and lead, it would have helped us on the completion of this play.
I agree.
Let's back it up just a little. So we have the handoff, and the screener slips. And let me back up just a hair. And as we're taking a step toward the lane in lead, we have all of our weight on our front foot. So all the momentum is taking us forward when this play is about to come directly to us. Where if we had been wide, even if we had taken a step, we still would have had an open look on the play as it developed. Now from lead, Terrell has the ball at BHD, correct? He has 0, he has a help defender. In lead, who are we picking up in lead?
I know where Myers went. Myers went to the guy in the middle of the paint, or in the middle of the floor. The post
11
player.
White?
Yes, that's where Myers went.
Right. So our eyes went to 11 White. And our trail is picking up the BHD, the defender, and has 11 White in his vision. All of this is in Trail's primary. And what we need to do as officials is we need to pick up that cutter as soon as his momentum or his or her momentum or direction changes. Boom. We have to identify her as a cutter, him as a cutter, diving toward the basket. Because we have to be ready to pick up this help defender if they should switch. And once again, all of our weight is on our front foot, which continues to pull us forward toward the lane. Right here is the contact that registered, correct?
Yes.
This is what we see. And from our perspective, we're thinking it hinders the players. But that contact, did the contact prevent that player from doing what he intended to do?
Nope.
All right, so then we could thank you. We could judge that contact as incidental, even though in our mind, I get it. At the spot, at that time, we're thinking, oh, he grabbed him, he held him, he impeded him. That's illegal. Even though he
Wayne,
played.
can you run it at live speed again and just let it play?
Yep.
Please.
Yes, ma'am. So the result of that contact
Wayne, I don't know if their video is, my video is, it's kind of choppy. I don't know if everyone else's video is kind of the same way. But
yeah,
right
it's
here,
like showing in slow motion.
yeah, like, so right here, hey, and I sent the play, so there's, by all means, technical error could be on my part on this as far as the quality of it. But the hand right here, when he kind of grabs him on the hip, and it slows him down just enough, but it doesn't have any impact on him catching the alley-oop and laying it in for a bucket that I wave off emphatically.
And once again, look at our position on the play. We are almost in what we would consider close down position as the play is coming to us.
But just finishing my thought, as far as that play and me, even at the time, but now looking, I am closed down. So instead of being wide and having that wide angle and being able to really process everything,
yes.
I'm so close to the play, everything is narrowed in. So now that contact, I mean, I react to that instead of being out wider and having the full picture to process the whole play.
Correct.
It would have helped me, and this play did help me. I know I jump ahead of you, Wayne, but this play happened right before postseason conference play, and I told Wayne this play is going to be with me for next year, and I hope it stays with me for a long time. As far as the importance of our whistles, being aware, but then not reacting to contact, and just being patient with the plays. You know, all those, when we referee stuff and it's the first, it's a new level, that's not the time to come out and start just blowing on contact. Referee the result of the play, and you really can't go wrong with that. But this play will help me as we continue to move forward next year.
That's correct. I agree 100%. Yes, and this is the difference, and a big difference between 1 point on the inline versus being wide on the inline. What other observations do we have? Comments, observations?
I would just say, going back to the patient part, I know Josh and I talked about this recently on the phone. And I know especially for as I was coming up, it was hard for me to be patient, you know, because it's like you see the contact and you're like, dang, that's a foul. And so we react to it. So I was telling Josh, like for me, what helped me was to obviously watch my film over and over again and recognize, you know, those plays that I could have been more patient on. But my self-talk out on the floor was extremely vital as well. So it needs to be to a point on some of these plays where we need to be uncomfortably patient, because when we're out on the floor, everything happens so fast, right? And so when you do have that play that you are patient on, you go back and watch it on film and you're like, dang, that was right on point. But while you're out there live, it feels like, God, I'm waiting forever, and I still haven't put a whistle. And so it's an extremely uncomfortable feeling to have. Yes. But I know for me personally, I've learned that it's better to be slower on these kinds of plays and quicker, because obviously it gives us more time to process the play as well. And so just getting to a point where we get uncomfortably patient on these plays will help us to just, you know, just process them better.
Correct. I agree 100%. And then also another truth that, or realism that be recognized on this specific play, and this is something that all of us have to understand, a lot of us officials who are working multiple levels. As you're transitioning between levels from game to game, our interpretation of contact has to shift with us. At a certain level, this contact should be and would be considered illegal. As you progress forward and the players are bigger, stronger, faster, the same amount of contact creates less hindrance on their movements. So we have to be able to make that transition as we move from game to game. And it is, I'm telling you, it is tough. It's hard. It's really, really hard. But we have to become adept at making that transition. What else do we have? Anything else on this play? All right.
It's easier, Wayne. It gets easier when you when you make a mistake like this, or when you do something like this, but then you learn from it, and then you go in the next game and uncomfortably patient. I mean, that's what it is. But you begin to settle into it, and you know you slow down your mind, because you're not being quick. You're being thoughtful. You're having your self-talk, but you just slow it down, and it gets easier. So
correct.
That was the games that I refereed at the end of the season, the postseason conference games. I felt great in them because I was patient. I was choosing to blow my whistle. I was making decisions instead of reacting, and all that just puts you in a good spot.
Correct.
For success.
Did having this experience right here and then breaking down this play for yourself, did it contribute to that mindset moving forward?
Oh yeah, definitely that, and having, I mean, obviously I'm with two veteran partners that were able to that shared the inside of that as well, and the encouragement and just there's a difference, and now we know what it is, and now we can grow from that. So
correct. That's correct. And as Brian Garland would say, if you don't know your game, you can't grow your game. And this is the best tool we have available to us to grow our game. Any other comments that we have on anything that's been covered so far today? Observations, thoughts? clarification. Good, good. B, is there anything you want to share with the group before we wrap up?
No, just thank you everybody for being here. It really does mean a lot that we're all taking this and getting better together. It really means a lot for all of you guys to be here. So let's just keep growing, you know, because there's other people that are just sitting on their couch, but not us. So I appreciate everyone being here.
Correct, correct. Well, in closing, I want to echo what B just said. I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to yourself. And everyone can continue to grow together, work together, communicate with each other, talk to each other. Let's work together, even during this time that's difficult for everyone. Let's recognize the opportunity that exists, the situation that we're in, and let's maximize it. Let's continue to get better. Let's continue to grow. If anyone has any questions about anything, reach out, let us know. We'll be more than happy to answer it. This session was recorded, and I will make it available to everyone. I'll post it when it's ready. All right. Everyone continue to be safe. Please continue your social distancing, if you don't mind. Follow the rules. Okay, no rule breakers out there. And everyone, let's be safe. And we will meet again right here next Wednesday, 2 o'clock. I will post the subject matter, what we're going to discuss, and let's be ready to continue to work and dig. All right, everybody. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Wayne.
Thanks, Wayne. That was great.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Wayne. Thanks for being
Thank
here.
you, Wayne.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
See ya.
Just in the last 6 days, a number of people on ICU. So we're not on a tiny stretch of imagination. But I am very proud of the first home order practicing music systems and scale. And it's really done justice to helping us by making that person prepare for surgery. Early part of May, we moved there's some dozen things that do not have state order or one of the states hit. Based on what we've seen from your state, based on your experience, able to hear all this, you have a message for the other government. The message is just really, really don't dream. At the end of the month, response